Well, hiking in the Hong Kong hills in the summer, it's always going to be hot. Sorry about the sweaty appearance. Whilst out on this walk, I'm going to talk about the English monarchy. Currently, our monarch is King Charles III, who I have to say I'm rather disappointed in. Now, when I was a young man, I swore allegiance to the Queen when I joined the Metropolitan Police in the early 80s. In fact, I wore a badge on my helmet, my distinctive police helmet, and on my black and white checkered cap. I think it was a sort of star shaped with E2R in the middle with a crown on the top. And then later in the mid 80s, I joined the Royal Hong Kong Police. And this time my cap badge was, well, it depicted an opium for tea transaction in the early 19th century with an English gentleman and a Chinese gentleman on a beach somewhere on Hong Kong Island. It's quite strange to, for the police to have a drug trafficking transaction on their cap badge. Anyway, I also swore allegiance to the Queen when I joined the Royal Hong Kong Police. I wouldn't call myself a monarchist, even though I swore allegiance to the Queen. I think I joined the police, London and Hong Kong, because I just wanted to be a policeman. You know, the excitement of it all, the challenge of it all, to do all the things that I did, which are extremely exciting. Of course, I help people, and I was pleased to help people, and I've always wanted to help people who are in need, and protect them when they are vulnerable, and to arrest people who are predators. But it wasn't through any sort of loyalty to the crown per se. What I think about the monarchy is that it's better than the alternatives, or used to be when we had Queen Elizabeth II. And she was the monarch through most of my life up until only the last, well, forever, all of us, I suppose, the last few years. And now we have King Charles. Now, I don't want to be taken off to the Tower of London for sedition or treachery, but I am pretty disappointed with the King. I'm not going to go into it in a great deal of detail, but I think he has been treacherous. I think he has veered away from what he swore at his coronation, which he should have done as a defender of the Church of England. Now, I was brought up as a Christian, a Catholic Christian, and I'm not a member of the Church of England. But England, Britain is a Christian country, and the laws have evolved out of that Christian tradition, the Ten Commandments and all that sort of thing. Now, do I want the monarchy, do I want their heads on blocks to be guillotined in some sort of revolution? No. I think what should happen to the British monarchy, it should just be ceremonial, sort of embodying our traditions and culture. I would like to see the abolition of the House of Lords and replaced with some other elected body. I'd like to see most of the royal family taken off the civil list and not paid for. I'd like to see a redistribution of the land, or put into some sort of, held in some sort of trust. The ownership and the trustees should be elected. And then the monarch, just symbolic, sort of in line with how I imagine it is in Denmark, Holland and Spain. I think a lot of support for the monarchy has waned. I would love for there to be an English constitution, a fair one, on the lines of the American written constitution. But there's no way the socialist government is going to draft it up in the interests of people like myself. It'll be woke, it'll be DI, it'll be open borders, it'll be socialist, it'll be legitimizing more wars and misery. It'll be taking wealth from the rainmakers and handing it over to the indolent. You can guarantee that the First Amendment isn't going to be the protection of freedom of expression and free speech. And the Second Amendment definitely isn't going to be the right to bear arms. So all we're left with is the monarchy. And so the best thing that can happen is it's trimmed right back. I think the tipping point has been reached. King Charles is an enormous disappointment to me. I'm sort of ashamed of him. I find him faintly ridiculous. I find his treachery, I think it's because he's not very bright. But I don't think he realized how much damage he has done to the monarchy. I think he's a coward. And cowardism is a trait that that appalls me, particularly in leaders. I don't know how many years he's got left to live. I sort of hope that he will naturally die or abdicate and hand over to William. Now, whether William will be any better, who knows? Can't be any worse. What about my sense of Britishness? I am British. I am not any other nationality. It says so on my passport. But actually, I think I'm going to give up my British passport. Anyone can get a British passport nowadays. And to be honest, I'm probably never going to go back to the UK. I don't feel safe there. They've enacted all these laws to silence people like me. You know, the Online Safety Act, all these different terrorism acts, this, that, and the other, public order acts and everything. They'll probably pick me up at the airport and arrest me and put me in jail for 3 years. And yet they're trying to empty the jails of rapists and murderers. And they're putting people in jail for just expressing their opinion. Anyway, I don't feel British anymore. I don't feel that it's special. But I am English. There's nothing anyone can do about that. They can't take that away from me. So what will I do instead? I might get a Hong Kong British Nationals Overseas passport. And what about for the younger generation? What are they going to do? What about for people who look like me but are half my age? What are their prospects? I think Europe's finished. Economically and socially, I think it'll become dangerous. You'll be alienated. I think if you're a young working class Englishman, you've got to make plans. Where to go? I don't know if there will be an independent Western Cape. If there was, that would be a nice place to go. Australia, yeah, it's all right. New Zealand, that's got its problems. What about America? Well, it's polarized, isn't it, into two diametrically opposed ideologies. I don't really feel aligned to either of them, if I'm being absolutely honest. What other countries? I think Asia is a good option. What about here in Hong Kong? I think it's a good option. In the coming years, the border is going to push further and further out into the Pearl River Delta, into Guangzhou, if you go to Shenzhen, it's amazing. There's amazing opportunity, I think. Whether the Chinese allow all the riffraff from Europe to turn up, I don't know. But if you are talented, if you've worked hard and you've acquired some skills, they'll welcome you with open arms, I'm sure. But if you're an indolent slacker, forget about it. They don't want you. So those are my thoughts, my ramblings while doing the Olympic Trail, which is beautiful. I'll see you on the next one. 再见。